Hello and welcome everybody. Just one moment. Thank you very much for joining us on our first webinar for V7 Go. We're focused on unleashing AI for auditing in this presentation, and my name is Derek Van Tonder, and I'm going to be your host for the next 40 minutes, and with me is our CEO, Andrew Davis.
Hey guys.
We're excited to have attendees from Australia, the Philippines, the UK, and beyond. But before we dive in, let me quickly run through how today's session is going to unfold. We're going to start with a 20-minute deep dive into V7 Go, and then we're going to explore how AI is transforming the auditing process. After that, we're going to open up a 20-minute Q&A session where you can ask any questions you have. Feel free to post your questions in the chat throughout the presentation, and we'll make sure to address them in the end. Also, this session is being recorded, so if you miss anything or you want to revisit any part later, the recording will be made available to you afterwards. And as a special thank you for attending, we've got a gift for you at the end, so be sure to stick around. All right, let's get going. So let's get started with a quick intro to our hosts. Andrew?
Thanks, Derek. So as Derek said, my name's Andrew. I'm founder and CEO of 3Digital. I've had over 25 years of experience in the tech and security sectors, spanning both defense, government, and private industries. I've worked in and built successful companies in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, software development, business process improvement, and cloud infrastructure.
And my name's Derek Van Tonder. I'm the Chief Software Architect here at 3Digital. I lead our software development teams all around the world to create new cutting-edge software solutions using the latest technology. I've been creating software since the 1990s, starting out in the games industry, after which I moved into the geospatial and engineering industries. And recently, we've been doing a lot of work with AI, which has been really exciting. Over to you, Veronica. Veronica, are you there? We can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm right there. Sorry.
Hi, you're right.
Okay?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Been on stage before that. Hi, everyone. My name is Veronica. I'm a demand generation or marketing lead at V7. I've been in all sorts of places in the last 10 years, but mostly working with tech businesses and now more lately with AI. And today I'm just representing V7 for any specific questions that you might have about Go, how it works, and how we partner with 3Digital.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Veronica. So why V7 and why 3Digital? For those of us who don't know us very well, 3Digital is a software consultancy. So we build software and we run people's software infrastructure for them. And 3Digital is the authorized representative of V7 for Australia and New Zealand. Now, we were chosen as authorized distributor for V7, which is a UK company that works globally, due to our significant AI and automation expertise. We also provide custom solutions to help our clients take advantage of V7's incredible superpowers. So let's get right into the meat of it. How do we audit thousands of documents today? This is the problem that I want to talk to everyone about, and it's a big problem. Paperwork and auditing is a heavy burden on a lot of businesses, with increasing government regulation making this harder and more expensive every year. Some companies spend huge amounts of money dealing with paperwork, but the irony is that a lot of that work is done manually, and it isn't automated, despite the sophisticated IT infrastructure that we have today, which means that in a way, humans have become slaves to our own machines. This repetitive work is also really tedious and error-prone, not to mention soul-crushing and bad for morale.
So how do we solve this problem? By connecting your paperwork to a reasoning engine. So 3Digital has partnered with the UK AI company V7 to solve this document problem. V7 Go is a powerful yet easy to use AI platform that can process thousands of documents simultaneously and automatically. V7 Go can reason, critique, and audit documents the same way a human would, but at a scale much faster and more accurately. All this while still keeping the human in the loop to manage the flow, ensure quality, and to handle any exceptions that are raised. So as some of you already know, here at 3Digital, we are very serious about security, and V7 adheres to some of the strictest standards and certifications in the software world, making it ideal for sensitive information like project, financial, or legal document processing.
So how does V7 Go actually work? Let's start with some numbers. It's estimated that 40% of knowledge work can be done using well-trained AI models just as well, if not better, only if they're able to learn specific instructions and run reliably at scale. That's really important, that specific instructions part. And if you think all this sounds way too complicated and you won't be able to use it, do not worry. V7 Go has a very familiar and highly intuitive and simplified user interface that lets anyone who can use ChatGPT become a master of AI data processing at scale. For example, Jade Yip from V7 loves to talk about how V7 Go customers can set up their own automations rather than relying on teams of engineers to do it for them. V7 Go also has many rewards and benefits. There's so many that we won't even have time to list all of them here today. So we're just going to focus on the most useful benefits. Anyone that's used ChatGPT already knows about some of the benefits of generative AI, but V7 Go goes a step further and it adds a range of unique new superpowers that are business-oriented and designed to help companies first. One of the most important new superpowers that V7 Go gives users is called visual grounding. AI models can hallucinate sometimes, which means they generate responses that don't make sense. We address this by asking the AI to provide visual grounding for each response so that suspicious or low confidence responses can be verified against the underlying data. Any items with low confidence can be flagged for human review. Look at this example in the picture here, where a packaging label has been cut open before scanning. The AI wasn't smart enough to recognize that it could only determine, the AI was smart enough to recognize that it could only determine the barcode here with low confidence, so it's flagged it for human review. This workflow lets human reviewers make decisions when they need to, and lets them focus on just the complex and tricky work that AI cannot do. Another great benefit of V7 Go is that you don't have to feed the AI perfectly formatted PDF files. V7 Go has a powerful text recognition engine that can recognize even messy handwriting on scanned paper documents like the one in the image here. This is a huge difference between V7 and consumer AIs like ChatGPT. Consumer AIs don't really understand handwriting very well. Best of all, V7 can recognize handwriting at scale for thousands of documents, and human review can be flagged for very poor or illegible text. So when you're dealing with very long, complicated documents, it's important to confirm that the AI is using the right information when it reasons and produces output based on complex input data. Sorry, I should say complex input data. I really need to emphasize that. So I'm talking about documents here that are hundreds or maybe even thousands of pages long, like legislation, things like that. V7 provides a citation feature that lets you click on any response and find the source for it so that you can double-check sensitive or critical responses that the AI makes. This is very useful when you're dealing with things like legal documents and contracts that absolutely have to be correct. This feature is brand new and it's not something you'll see in any other AI tools today. But the greatest superpower that V7 Go gives you is the ability to use AI as a bulk decision-making tool. One of the hardest problems in many jobs is making many small decisions based on incoming documents of all kinds. For example, I will show a case study a little bit later where a legal firm had to make over 1 million manual decisions across the world for many, many different clients with differing rule sets. That is a nightmare of a problem, and you can only imagine how much money and investment they were pouring into that problem every single day. That's one of the kinds of problems that V7 can solve and do it at scale. So what if you didn't have to make all these decisions manually? V7 can lift this burden and also reduce errors using select types, which we'll show you a little bit later. It's much the same principle as a plane flying on autopilot. The pilot is still in charge of the plane, and the pilot still controls what the plane does, but the pilot doesn't have to keep their hands on the yoke the entire flight. And that makes a big difference for pilots. It's a lot nicer to fly a plane when it has autopilot. These colorful visual decision-making icons that V7 Go produces help your users quickly run through large lists of simple or complex decisions. V7 is also able to understand lots of different kinds of inputs, including PDFs, images, and even videos. V7 is called a multimodal AI, which means that it can understand all kinds of documents and images. Even very large and complex documents like legislative volumes can be handled with ease if you choose the right models like Gemini Pro, which can accommodate 2 million tokens, or roughly 1 million words per response. That's a lot, and that can handle basically anything that's written. Even poorly scanned or hard to read paper documents will work the same way. Another amazing superpower that V7 Go has that other tools haven't got is the ability to understand and draw data from live websites. This is one of my personal favorites. Imagine creating a comparison of hundreds of properties or items in a store in minutes using AI. V7 is able to do that. A lot of people don't even realize you can do that. Even better, you can hook the V7 reasoning engine up to select types to provide fast decision-making across large bodies of data. And that's one of the things we'll be showing you later. Here, the example in the image is comparing images and features for hundreds of property listings on a real estate website, but you could use this for almost anything. V7 can even reason based on the images inside the web links you provide, and that's an incredible superpower in my opinion. But there is a slight hitch to some of this. What if your existing systems are not up to the task? Many of our clients are running crusty old legacy systems that make it very hard to get your data out and do useful things with it. But don't worry. Here at 3.Digital, we've created off-the-shelf automation systems that can solve that problem for you. It's one of our superpowers. Here is a demo showing how we automated extracting documents from the National Archives of Australia. Now, it may not look that exciting at first glance because all you're seeing is someone kind of clicking and downloading images from a website, but it does become a lot more interesting when you realize that everything in this video is actually a recording of our 3.Digital AI doing this automatically inside an Amazon EC2 cluster. There is no human involved in this process at all. What that means is that you can gather documents out of these old crusty user interfaces automatically and very, very easily and very quickly in large amounts. Now let's take a look at a real-world example and a tutorial. Let's conduct a digital audit using V7. So we're going to start by looking at a financial statement. So this is a long and complex document, and it's an ASX financial statement which has to follow very strict legal rules. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop a bunch of these kind of financial statements into V7. They are long and complex PDF files, but V7 understands them immediately. So it's a very quick process. You can add videos, PDFs, Word documents, and images. V7 Go will understand them all, and all you have to do is drag and drop them in. It's that simple. Now we're going to add something different. We're going to add a reference document. So when I say reference documents, I mean something like legislation or standards or rules. These are used like a textbook by the AI to understand the rules for auditing. So legislation is a great example because it's a set of very strict rules that things like financial statements need to follow. So it's a great example. For very long documents, we recommend that you use an excerpt. For example, the legislation here for the Companies Act, the Corporations Act, it's something like 700 pages, but we're not really interested in all of it. We're only interested in the part about financial reporting. So we only put that little excerpt in, and the reason we do that is because we don't want to use up too many tokens. Now that the AI knows the law of the land and we've given it a set of documents to process and a set of reference documents to use as the rules for the audit, we can create prompts in a very similar way to using ChatGPT. It's important that we be very specific when instructing the AI on how to respond to our questions for consistency. So you see here, I'm picking file, so it's going to operate on all of these files, and I'm going to type in a simple prompt. So what I want to do is ask the AI, do these financial statements give a true and fair view of the company's financial position? Notice how I reference a particular part of the Corporations Act. That's very important. So what's going to happen is the entire column will be filled using your prompt automatically. And this will work just the same and just as quickly if I had 1,000 files in here or more. It's normal to refine your prompt a little bit, a few times to get exactly the right result across many different documents. I find I generally do 3 or 4 prompts before I get exactly the kind of output that I want. The way I always describe it to people when they're prompting is I used to say, imagine you're asking a junior employee to do a paperwork task for you. How would you describe that to them in an email? How would you instruct them in an email? Just do exactly that, but you ask the AI to do that. So once we've gotten some results from the AI in the second column, it's important that we double check the work that has been done. We can use the incredible citations feature to double check these results. it's important that you enable citations for your column manually. It's not enabled by default. And then give it a bit of time to process. Building citations is a very heavy process on the server, so it does take a few seconds. Now you can click on any result, and you can see the reasoning and background document that V7 used to come to its conclusion. Here you can see the reasoning that the AI used. And best of all, you can actually open the document and see the areas where it's found what it needs to. So I'm going to click on item number 2 here. I've asked it about the policy, and it shows that to me. On item number 3, I see exactly where it found that vital piece of information that I'm looking for. But this has all been automatic. No human being was required to do this. That's one of the superpowers. Now, the coolest thing about citations is that we can couple them with confidence scores, which the AI can very easily give us to get a good indicator on how accurately the AI is doing its job. It's often really helpful to visually display results using the select option. So here I actually had to create a naughty company because all of the financial reports were basically perfect. They were prepared by lawyers. So that wasn't going to help me to show you how to find when things are bad and when things are wrong, which is actually one of the most powerful things you can do with V7. So I created a naughty company, and I'm loading them into V7 just to do a compare and contrast exercise here. So I'm going to tell it to recompute everything. And now let's see what it does. This is going to be very interesting. So V7 can automatically colorize these select columns. And notice how it makes that bottom one red. No. So it really sticks out. Let's look at the citations for this field. So we've asked it, is this a fair and true view of the financials of the company? And it says no. Yeah, that's bad. That's not good. This is not good. The AI knows it's not good. So this is a bit of an extreme example, but the point here is that this feature is great for confidence scoring and flagging things for review. So generally, you might have 100 documents that are fine, but you might have 1 or 2 where it's going to flag them and say, hey, actually, I think there's something you need to investigate here as a human, and then you can take the process from there.
So that actually concludes the presentation part of this webinar. And to actually thank all of you for spending your time with us today, learning about V7 Go, we're offering that 5% discount code so that you can use that when you're signing up with us. So just quote that discount code on your screen now, which is 3DD Web 1. So we might just jump now into the Q&A portion of the webinar, starting with the first question from Mark. So Derek, Mark's question is, do sources get hallucinated? I've seen this in ChatGPT.
That's a really good question. We have not found that. And you can also ask the AI, and if it's, let's rule it out, is what I would suggest. You can ask the AI to give you a confidence score of how confident it is, and also to provide you with a citation for both sources and for the actual documents you're processing. So you can do both, and I would suggest have an extra column just for that. And that way you can pick up things. And more importantly, you can do spot checks where you can look and see that both the reference document and the processing document that you're working on have been correctly picked up in the way that you expect. That's what I would suggest for that. So there's definitely a mechanism for you to double check that, but in reality, it's very rare if it's something like legislation, which is very clearly written.
You agree with that, Veronica?
Yeah, absolutely. Confidence scoring, and as Derek showed in that example there, is a great way how to validate very quickly if the document is right. Some of our customers also, they just say if a confidence score is below a certain percentage, they leave the field empty, and then you as a human can go back and check those fields.
Yeah. That's a great suggestion, Veronica. I really like that one. Yeah, a confidence score doesn't have to be a pass or a fail. You're absolutely right to point that out. It can be a percentage, and maybe you have a threshold. Anything less than 30% is a bit sus. Maybe we need to process those by hand.
Cool. All right, so our next question is from Dan. And Dan asks, can it generate suggestions? For example, in your example, could it write the board of directors assurance of accurate finances for them? Or is this a bridge too far?
What I would suggest to answer that question is, if I was tasked with that, I would follow what I call the 80-20 rule. So I would create, and you absolutely can. Yes, the answer is a definite yes. However, I would actually generate those responses in the text that I needed. Then I would actually ask the AI, or perhaps a different AI, because you can select different models. And this is a great way of using V7's true power, because you can choose lots of different models. I would ask one AI to double check the results of another AI. And then finally, I would flag anything suspicious for human review through that process. So because you're having different models looking at the same problem, it's a bit like having two sets of eyes on a problem. It's why we brainstorm things as humans, because we know that a group will more likely be able to solve a difficult problem or see more things that might be wrong. So that's how I would do it. I would have multiple models, double checking the results, and then flag things for human review at the end as well, for things that are absolutely critical. But the short answer is yes, it can absolutely generate that. And I think you would be amazed at how good the legal language is that will come out of it.
Anything to add there, Veronica?
That was perfect.
Alrighty. So Jody's got a question. So Jody currently uses Copilot. And how does this differ from V7 Go?
Veronica, did you want to grab that one, or do you want me to grab it?
Yeah, I can grab that one. I mean, my name is on there. I can give you an intro. A quick one, and then maybe you can expand, Derek. So I haven't actually used Copilot since the update, so you'll have to excuse me. But what V7 Go is incredible for is data extraction at scale and document automation at the moment, and we're slowly moving towards workflow automation where you can truly automate a whole part of a document extraction process. And like, let's say you extract some data, then what you want to do with the insights, and then you push it forward. The big thing about us is that this is a next generation tool for you that works across. You can use different kind of models. You can use it for about anything else. Whereas I guess Microsoft Copilot is more of a Copilot based on just your data. Derek, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great answer. I would say that it's very simple. If you want an answer for one question, ask Copilot. It's good at that. It's fast. It's great. If you want an answer for a question that involves 1,000 or 10,000 documents, Copilot ain't going to do that. So Copilot is designed as a tiny little consumer LLM that's fast and quick and can give you quick answers on small questions. And it's great for that, not knocking it. But the salient and important words there are small, fast, and cheap. So it's never going to give you the quality of answers that you can get from something like Gemini Pro or Claude Opus. It's not designed for that. V7 is designed to handle very complex, very high-end legal language, things like that. It's fully capable of it. So they're really different tools for different purposes is the final answer.
Cool. Thanks, guys. So the next question is from Jonathan. Could the application be used to compare a specification against a submitted document and confirm compliance with requirements? An example would be an O&M manual with specific deliverables for commissioning documents, certificates, manuals, etc.
I'm happy to take that one. The answer is an absolute yes. It is really, really good at that specific task. Anything where there's a specific set of rules and a document you want to check against rules, that is V7's superpower. And it has a whole bunch of features like the citations and the reasoning and all of that. And the way that it's able to import even scanned in paper documents that are not very good quality, those are all geared precisely for this task. That would be the ideal task for V7.
Anything to add there, Veronica? No,
that's exactly it. We also pride ourselves at something that you haven't mentioned is exactly the different types of data, which is tables and graphs. We're actually pretty good at that too, not just handwritten things. And we're working, you can even extract audio. So there's so many different types of data that you can input into the software and have it produce results for you.
Cool. So Mark's got another question. How do people review the information and make decisions?
I'm happy to take this one, guys. So there's actually a variety of ways, and it's a great question. I've really only scratched the surface of what V7 Go can do. But the most common thing is, let's say you have a use case where you're auditing 10,000 paper documents that you scanned in. That's a lot of documents, right? Even in a spreadsheet, 10,000 rows is a lot. So the most common way that people do this is they then take the final result from V7, which is a series of columns, effectively a kind of spreadsheet. They then export that into something that a program like Excel or an ERP what's a popular ERP? I always forget the name of it. Andrew, help me out. What's that big German ERP? What's it called? That huge one that everybody uses and that no company ever survives the implementation of. Anyway, the point being, you generally take that big chunk of data that's V7 has provided and you move it into whatever software you have that actually can process that and do things with it. So that might be Excel, it might be a gigantic ERP. There's a variety of things, and there's lots of programs that can accept that data as long as it's already been processed correctly. And that's what V7 is really good at. It gives you the smarts to get the actual data that you need and to make those millions of tiny decisions in a streamlined and quick and scalable way.
Cool. You good with that, Veronica?
I answered the question.
Alrighty. Okay, so I had another one here, which is from, looks like that one. Okay, here we go. From Dan. Can this be white labeled or have products built on top of it?
That one's for you, Veronica.
That is a really great question. At the moment, no, we do not white label V7. However, since we did launch the product only just over 6 months ago, this is very, very new still, and we're exploring what other opportunities there are for growth. So if you're serious about it, do let me know, send me a message. In terms of building product on top of it, yeah. So actually we have a couple of customers, including construction, where they use V7 Go as a basis for their application or piece of software. So we've already seen some cases of that. So the sky's the limit with this piece of technology. I think, as Derek said, we're just scratching the surface. So yeah, white label, not at the moment. Product built upon it or with it, yes.
And at 3DD, we're already integrating V7 Go into our automation solution as well. So absolutely, we can do that.
If I could just make one comment, V7 is actually a great place to dump huge amounts of data from other systems. And we're actually doing that ourselves. And the problem is when you have these large bulk amounts of data, it often becomes very hard to process them in any meaningful way. That's where we see V7 being basically a front end for many of these systems that spit out vast amounts of data or archive systems and things like that. So we think there's a huge potential there to improve people's workflows, basically, using automations and things like that.
Yeah, cool. Mark's got a question to say, do we see the tool being used to collate proposals and pricing models for services, for example, of how we speed up tenders and other sales submissions?
Andrew, do you want to take that one?
Me?
Yeah.
No, you guys can answer it. I'm asking the question.
Maybe you should take this one.
Yeah, sure. If I understand correctly, you're basically asking if you can use it for the specific use case, as in like collating proposals, coming up with pricing for models and services, using it as a reasoning engine. I think so. Yeah, I mean, you can use it for anything. Specific examples of how to speed up tenders wouldn't be able to answer that one, but we've had customers where, like in construction, for example, where they take, they used to do site inspection reports, for example, or, and they would have like hundreds of these every month. And so they would use V7 Go, they would just upload all of the documentation, use it as sort of a front end, get that information, fill out the checklist almost automatically, use visual grounding to ensure that all of the checks are in place. And then that speeds up the whole process of them checking off that the site is secure. So there's different ways of how you can not just extract the data, but actually make an action upon it to let your humans do something more exciting than just read through hundreds of PDFs, because let's be honest, nobody wants to do that. I hope that answers your question, but if it didn't, please add some more details and we'll get back to you.
So Veronica, I'm sure there's some humans out there that really enjoy doing that, but I think the majority of it.
Absolutely. But as I think, as Derek said, it's not to say that that work isn't valuable. It's to say that at the scale that we're talking hundreds of documents a week, thousands of documents a week. It just helps us, free up that time to do more strategic work, more of work that really matters. And it's kind of like that co-pilot example. I actually really love that, Derek. I might actually steal that. Is that, pilots today, they do fly with autopilot, but the takeoff and the landing is still very much in the control of the pilot. And that's how we foresee the future, where you can go, you don't want to spend 10 minutes squinting at a PDF document trying to make sense of the handwriting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We have technology to help you with that today. And so you can focus on the areas of the workflow that you like best and let technology take care of the rest. That's our methodology here.
Cool. All right. Jonathan's got a follow-up from Mark's question. Can the software review a tender request and extract responses from a library of previous submissions to match and develop a tailored proposal? It's a good question.
Yes, absolutely. That's definitely a very, very good use case. Basically, any textual information, as long as you follow the pattern of reference document plus data, the AI is going to do really, really well on that. Particularly, the more data you have, the better it gets. In other words, just like a human, the more times a human does something, the better they get at it. The AI is no different. The more and more context you give it, the more accurately it's going to be working. And there is one superpower that you need to be aware of when you're doing this, and that's the fact that you can also give it legislation or other documents and rules that it needs to follow while it's doing that. And I know working with humans, not everybody remembers all the rules and all the laws, right? But the AI doesn't miss. The AI that is particularly good at that, which is something a human would actually really struggle with unless they've been educated for years and years and years on those laws and things.
Anything to add, Veronica?
No.
Nope. Cool. And I think this is in regards to the handwriting example that you provided there, Derek, as well. So how did those exceptions get handled if the writing is poor, questionable, or the paper quality is low?
So that's actually a really good one. All you have to do is just ask the AI to give you a confidence score based on how well it actually was able to read the document. So the vision, we call these the vision AIs. So they deal with images, not just with text. So the vision AIs use a system where they try and recognize text. But as they do that, they are able to figure out if they're getting an accurate result or an inaccurate result. So these algorithms are highly sophisticated, they're highly accurate, and the algorithms themselves know when they're not giving you good data. So they have a confidence score built in. But the beautiful thing is that V7 has access to that. You simply ask the AI, please tell me how confident you are in this result on a scale of 0 to 10. And then what you can do that is use that as a select, and then you can have color codes if you like, or something like that. And then what I've found is, for example, I scan in hundreds of documents. What I found is once you've got those little color codes, the ones that are, a bit jumbled up or you can't read too well, they just stick right out. Like they'll just be little red chips on your screen. And then usually you just open them and you're like, oh, yeah, this one's illegible. We can't do anything with it. So leaning on the AI, it's got that confidence score built in. It's a superpower. That's really, really easy.
Cool. You're nodding there, Veronica, so I'm assuming you've got nothing else to add. Cool. Looks like we've got a last question. Oh, no, it looks like it's gone. Yeah, I think that's our last question, unless there's any other questions from anyone. I think that's it, guys, and we're almost out of time. So do you want to wrap us up, Derek?
Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, Veronica, for waking up early in your time zone to join us. Look, we're really excited about V7. What it boils down to is I think it's a game changer. There's so much old data out there that it's so difficult to deal with, and it's got such a great intuitive interface. When I first started using it, I was like, yeah, this is a game changer. And that's why I went and asked Veronica's company, can we represent you? I think this is really going to help a lot of people. A lot of companies are still stuck in the Stone Age, despite their sophisticated computers. Their actual workflows are stuck in the Stone Age. That's one of the problems that V7 solves, and that's what I want to leave you with as a challenge. Try it out. I think you'll be very, very surprised and pleasantly surprised at how good it is and how nicely it's been made.
Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate your time on an afternoon as well. And thanks for joining us from the other side of the globe, Veronica. Have a great afternoon.
Right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you a bit later.
Yeah.
Goodbye.